Your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. Jim Rohn. We wait for a sign, for the right timing, for the perfect moment to arrive and fix everything. We say things like, one day I'll leave. Someday I'll start over. When I feel ready, I'll change. But deep down, we already know life doesn't change just because time passes. It changes because you decide to do something different. And that's the part no one tells us. Change doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. It's not luck. It's not chance. It's not fate. It's choice. Sometimes small, sometimes terrifying, but always, always yours. So if you're waiting for something to shift, what if the shift is waiting for you? Because as Jim Rohn said, and life keeps proving, your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. The question is, are you willing to stop waiting and start becoming? Your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. At first, it sounds simple, but behind this short sentence lies a hard truth. Nothing changes until you do. Not the way you wake up, not the relationships you tolerate, not the habits you keep repeating, not the quiet pain you've learned to carry every day. And yet, we wait. We hope that maybe, by some miracle, life will fix itself. We scroll, we complain, we fantasize, we stay in the same patterns, the same pain, the same excuses, telling ourselves that someday we'll feel different. But someday never comes, because better doesn't show up on its own. It doesn't knock at your door. It doesn't care if you've been through enough. Better happens when you get honest, when you stop waiting and start deciding, when you take one small step, even shaking, toward what you really want. It doesn't mean changing your entire life overnight, but it does mean letting go of the idea that comfort is the goal, because comfort can be a cage, and change, though it's hard, is what sets you free. So if you feel stuck, tired, or lost, don't wait for luck to rescue you. Create movement, even if it's messy, even if it's quiet, because you are the turning point. Always were. This isn't about motivation, it's about decision. Because waiting doesn't build a new life. Action does. Even small, unglamorous, imperfect action. Here's how to begin, even when it feels hard. 1. Replace someday with a date. We say things like, one day, I'll leave this job. I'll start taking care of myself soon. I want more, but not right now. And nothing happens. So change it. Make it real. Instead of someday, say, next Monday, I will update my resume. Tonight, I will set a boundary. This weekend, I will rest without guilt. Action gives shape to desire. Without action, it just stays a fantasy. 2. Start before you're ready. You don't need to feel confident. You don't need to have a perfect plan. You just need to move. Read the first page. Make the first call. Take the first walk. Say the honest words. You don't have to jump the whole staircase. Just take one step. 3. Interrupt the voice that says you can't. That voice is old. It's built from fear, failure, and things that happened when you didn't know how to fight back. But you're not that person anymore. So when that voice shows up, say, I hear you, but I'm doing it anyway. Because courage is not the absence of fear. It's the refusal to let fear stop you. 4. Make one part of your day different, on purpose. Change doesn't require a life overhaul. It begins in tiny choices. Take a new route home. Say no where you used to say yes. Cook instead of ordering again. Journal instead of scrolling. Every small shift tells your brain, we're not stuck anymore. And that begins to build momentum, the kind that lasts. 5. Let discomfort be your compass. Change isn't supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to feel real. That awkwardness you feel when you try something new, that's growth. That fear that shows up when you speak your truth, that's power. That resistance that rises when you take action, that means you're no longer asleep in your life. Let it rise, let it stretch you, and let it remind you, you're no longer surviving. You're starting to choose. His name is Daniel. He's 47, a husband, a father of 2, and a man who used to dream, but doesn't anymore. Every day he wakes up at 6:30. Same job, same routine, same quiet disappointment. He's not miserable, but he's not alive either. He tells himself, I'm too old to start over. I should be grateful. This is just how life is. But there's a voice beneath all that. Quiet, but relentless. It says, there has to be more than this. One night, after another long day, he hears a podcast in the background. The voice says, your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. He stops, rewinds, listens again, and for some reason this time, it hits differently, like a mirror he can't look away from. That night, Daniel doesn't make a dramatic plan. He just writes down one sentence in his notebook. I'm not waiting anymore. The next morning, he sets his alarm 30 minutes earlier. He goes for a walk before work, headphones out, eyes open. A week later, he sends a message to an old friend and says, can we talk? I'm thinking about shifting careers. A month later, he signs up for an evening course, not because he's sure of what comes next, but because he's tired of being sure that nothing will. Daniel didn't change overnight, but he started showing up differently in his body, in his marriage, in his sense of worth. Not because something outside changed, but because he finally chose to. We wait for change, like it's a bus that will arrive. But change isn't coming, because you are it. You're the one who decides when enough is enough, when silence speaks louder than fear, when staying the same costs more than growing. Jim Rohn was right. Your life does not get better by chance. It gets better by change. Change doesn't ask you to be ready. It just asks you to be honest. Honest about what you want. Honest about what's not working. Honest about the part of you that knows this isn't all there is. You don't have to change everything overnight. You just have to stop pretending that someday is a strategy. Because life isn't waiting. It's happening right now, in your body, in your breath, in this very moment where you get to choose, stay numb or wake up, stay stuck or take one step, keep hoping for better or become it. And the beauty is, the moment you choose differently, no matter how small, life begins to meet you there, not by chance, but by change. If this message stirred something in you, maybe it's because part of you is done waiting. So let me ask, what's one small change you're ready to make? Not someday, but today? Write it in the comments. Make it real, even if it's small. Especially if it's small. You never know who might read it and feel less alone. And if this video spoke to you, even just one line, please consider liking this video It tells the algorithm that messages like this matter. Sharing it with someone you love, who's stuck in almost. Subscribing for more grounded, honest reflections on life, change, and what it means to be human. We're not here to wait for life to happen. We're here to live it, fully, deeply, one choice at a time. Thank you for being here. And more importantly, thank you for choosing yourself.